Hello everybody and welcome to Civ House. I'm Rob, and today we're going to be talking about some old Civs from the other 6 games that need to find their way back into Civ 7. But before we dive in, I'm going to ask that you guys like and subscribe so that you're not missing out on any of the awesome Civilization content we have coming out nearly every single day. Also, let me know in the comments if there are any older Civs that you would like to see make a comeback in Civilization 7. But let's hop into it here. We're going to start off with number 5, and it's going to be the Norwegians / Vikings, and we're going to be placing them in antiquity. The idea would be that they would be militaristic and expansionist in Civilization 7. And again, yes, I said it, antiquity instead of exploration, mostly because they were already raiding so much of England specifically, well before that kind of 1,000-ish year cutoff that they have for the exploration age. Currently, I still believe that there should probably be a little bit of separation there, maybe for a medieval age, but that's another conversation for another time. How we would envision this is very similar to Bulgaria, but as an antiquity civ, and obviously with boats, specifically, ships, navy, whatever you want to call it, as the main focus. And you would get different bonuses for raising or keeping the cities that you conquer. So this would add a very unique gameplay style where you could go in and you could raise those cities, and maybe it would obviously give you some more gold, maybe some happiness for your civilization to do so, as that's what Vikings liked to do. Or you could do what they ended up doing later on after raiding all of these areas in England and actually keeping them and converting them. And maybe this would allow you to get some culture, or again, maybe some sort of different way of getting an economic bonus. The Viking would replace the warrior, and their special stats would be that they get stronger once they get below 50% health. So it would actually be ideal for you to be fighting with these Vikings and allow you to actually have lower health units that are running around with your different commanders. You could also obviously add in some sort of long ship, or some sort of Viking ship as well that would allow you to pillage tiles, but they kind of already have that in the game. So I thought maybe they could have extra damage against units that are on land, some other area that could allow them to still go around and pillage, but also still allow for you to rule the seas in some way, shape, or form, as the Vikings kind of did, especially in the North Sea. And the Viking, I think, would be great just because I think it would fit the way that antiquity plays right now. And you'd be able to expand as much or as little as you would want to. And this would almost feel even like a little bit like Mongolia and kind of the way that it plays as well in the exploration age. But yeah, that's number 5. We're going with the Vikings. But we're going to move on to number 4. And we're going to go to Brazil for this one. We're going to make Brazil a modern age civilization, and they would be cultural and expansionists. And the idea would be to really kind of build up around that magnificent Brazilian culture, whether it's, the beaches, the favelas, all the different parades and the unique dress and everything else that's well known there in Brazil. Could be the way that they could build around it. Specifically, my thought was that they could have, for a special unique building or quarter even, they could have favelas that you would be able to build next to each other that would create almost this interconnecting favela, maybe even similar to kind of the way that the Great Wall works, in antiquity. And they would allow for you to create insane yields for culture, which would be great. But the sacrifice of that would end up being food, just because there'd be so many people to feed and everything, right? And so this would be one of those civs that is less focused, obviously, on, militaristic expansion and more about, that food growth. And there could be some way that they could add food. I am making this after the announcement that they are patching food and that they're going to make it a little bit stronger. So I think that this could be really fun. I also figured they would need to add the Cristo Redentor, or Christ the Redeemer, as a wonder, and that, this could also allow for some more culture in some, significant way. I would love to connect this to religion, but religion in the modern age specifically in this game basically doesn't exist. So if they were to change that, maybe they could add Brazil as that civ to kind of bring religion back in a more serious way. We made a video on that earlier this week. You should go check it out when you get the chance, but not until you're done with this video, obviously. So yeah, Brazil's there at number 4, but we're going to head into number 3, and that's going to be Venice, or the Venetian civilization. This one's obviously going to fit perfectly in the exploration age. They are going to be economic and diplomatic, and they would be the one city challenge along with the Carthaginians. And what would be really cool about that is this would be a very direct path. If you are wanting to truly play the one city challenge throughout history, now I don't know what they would do for the modern age yet, but I'm sure we could figure something out for that as well. If you guys would want to see that, let me know. But you could head straight from Carthage into the Venetians. And the way that I thought that they could have kind of this unique ability would be that on the diplomatic side, it would be almost like a cross between, leader bonuses for Machiavelli and Napoleon, where you're getting +2 gold for every non-hostile or, worse, leader, one that's just upset with you, or you would be getting +2 influence per turn for each hostile or worse leader. So, if you're doing this one city challenge, you're either going to be, at war, people are going to be upset with you, and you're going to get that influence to give you, maybe that better, war score, or, you could use that to help yourself get better allies or get city-states attached to you. Obviously, Machiavelli would fit perfectly with this civilization. And I also thought that they could add the Venetian arsenal back, but make it a little different. We already have the Battersea power plant, or whatever it's called. Sorry, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but the Battersea Station, that's what it's called, where you're getting that extra naval unit in the modern age. I don't think they'd want to do just basically a copy of that wonder for the exploration age, but instead what I would have it be is that it would give you +5 combat strength when fighting within your borders. So I thought that this would be a really good way to allow for Venice to be able to defend itself. Even if you can get medieval walls and everything during this time period, I think it could make it really hard for people to come in and take you out. They would have to really have a strong army and really have to overwhelm you, or a strong navy, just depending on where you build. Obviously, you would be wanting to build on a river or, near a coastline, preferably both, or at least a navigable river that leads to the coast. And the last part that I thought would be really interesting for Venice would be making it so that it's the only civ, available, at least right now, that could expand its borders at least 1 extra ring, maybe 2, so that you are allowing yourself, to, not worry about not having those extra cities. It would allow you for, more area to defend. It would allow you for more area to get basic yields that you would need within the game as well, because I think it might be a little bit tougher being economic and diplomatic in this way. We're moving on here, though, to number 2, and number 2 is one that I am absolutely shocked has not already been added to the game, and that's Germany. You could go a couple of different ways with this one, right? You could go like the Gauls and the Germanic tribes, in antiquity, or you could go, again, because the medieval age doesn't really exist, you could go the Holy Roman Empire for the exploration age, but I'm going with modern Germany in this one, because I feel like it's, as the Holy Roman Empire splits, Germany starts to really solidify itself as a cultural, group of people. It feels like it would be a really good addition for the game right now. And, based on past Civilization games, this is the one that we most often get. So I figured, why not? We'll go with modern Germany. This Germany would be militaristic and scientific with a really big emphasis on production. How that would work, I don't really know for sure. But you could go with any of the interesting, Germanic like tanks that you see in World War II. You could even go with some of the units that helped to unified Germany, in the 17 and 1800s. And then I think science, because we don't have, sort of a production aspect, ability tree, right, like we do with militaristic and scientific, the legacy path, I think, would fit well with either of these. We know the German scientists, they were very much pushing different advances, and really allowed for them to continue into the modern age, really making some of the great mechanical things of the world. And I think that this would be a really interesting path for them, a little bit of a different one. I don't know exactly how you would fit production in there. I don't know if maybe you would go similar to maybe the Ada route, where your science is directly connected to your production bonuses in some way, shape, or form. But I feel like this would work really well for modern Germany and would be a very interesting one to be added. It just feels like kind of similar to really Brazil and I think the Norwegians / Vikings as ones that were missed out on in eventual civs / cultures that are going to be added to the game at some point. That is going to lead us, though, into the number one option here. I'm curious to see if you guys guessed it, but it is going to be the Aztecs, and we're going to have them added in the exploration age. They are going to be militaristic / cultural, and if I'm being honest with you, they probably should be militaristic / religious, but religion's been, completely baked into the exploration age, as it's really the only time when religion matters whatsoever. So I think that would be kind of the focus, is that the culture would be based around, the Aztecs' beliefs. And what I thought would be interesting is that they would bring back the Eagle Warrior to replace the Swordsman. And what it would happen is that you would get cultural bonuses for every unit that they were to take out, or to kill, destroy, whatever, right? And what this would be like is, kind of signifying the sacrificing that the Aztecs did. And, this would really allow you to get down that cultural civic tree, I think, in a very interesting way, to say the least. And I think that you could continue to allow that to happen with maybe the different temples, or I can't remember if these were the ziggurats. I don't think so. I could be wrong on that. That might be the Mayans. But there are different temples that they obviously still had there in the Aztecs. You'd want to be kind of in that vegetated area as well. So they would fit, I think, as a really nice flow straight from the Mayans, and I think that you would be able to also fight a little bit more defensively in this exploration age, because you're going to be keeping, the different, I guess, conquistadors and everybody else during that age from coming in. It would fit with the way that they do things in history. And I think you could add even a little bit of trade in there, as that was a major part of the Aztec Empire, and using those navigable rivers in, I think, a very significant way. And let's not pretend that we're not all sad that Montezuma is not in the game, right? I think that they could add the Aztecs and add Montezuma in one big swoop, and I think a lot of people would be really excited, because Monty's one of the main leaders that has been, I believe, in every single Civilization game, except for this one. So it would be a shame not to see him get added at some point here. But let me know what you guys think of these 5 civilizations that you would like to see, or that I would like to see added back into Civilization 7. Let me know if you think that there are any that I missed completely, that some really, really big ones. I tried to go back through, especially the last 3 or 4 civs, and pick these out, but I really felt like they'd be interesting and ones that I think would fit really well within the way that Civilization 7 works. But that is going to wrap it up for us on this one. So from our house to yours, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us for one more turn.